What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. The usual Monday crew, Hoop, Mango, myself, another big slate, 9 games. Got some NFL Showdown tonight, too. I'm very excited for the game. We were talking a little pre-show, Washington, Seattle. Mondays are always very good in the DFS space. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button for us. I'm going to go over to my boy Hoop to start it off, though. Hoop, how was your flight home yesterday? Happy to be all settled in. Hey, we had a lot of fun on Thursday, a little 2-day hangover for me over here, but How are you feeling? How was your Sunday yesterday? And any takes on this game tonight?
Yeah, it was flight was good yesterday. Bad. I mean, I know I got buried on the show yesterday for booking a flight home.
Talk about NFL.
It. Yeah, it was. I mean, I swear I thought we were coming back Monday, and then come to find out it was Sunday. The wife swears I booked these flights. I don't think I did. I can't imagine I book a Sunday flight home, but hey, that's what happens. And yeah, I'm still recovering. I mean, you saw what I'm dealing with the brother-in-law. He goes hard. He goes very, very, very hard. You experienced it for one day. I was in there for 4 days, and I'm older, so the recovery process is a little bit longer. Today, finally starting to feel a little bit better. The game tonight looks phenomenal, though. I mean, got this nice total, close spread. Seahawks, Redskins. I think I'm with you, though. I think the Redskins get the job done. Seattle could be complete dust. Pete Carroll is just such a donkey, man. Some of these coaches, it's just so painful to see. And if they don't show up here and play well, I mean, changes, I'm assuming, need to be made. We'll see, though.
Yeah, tonight's definitely a good game. I'm on the Washington side. I was on the pod or show a spread earlier. If you didn't check it out, Run Pure Bet side. Spread does a great job over there. We discussed the game. Yeah, as far as your brother-in-law, it was one of the crazier guys I've met. A lot of fun, but yeah, he got me going. We were playing hockey till like 3 a.m. downstairs, shooting pucks in the net, just having a good time. So definitely feeling a little bit, but a very fun day indeed. Man, I don't know what you're digging down there for, looking for, if you can even hear me. I don't think you can hear me. So right now.
He's out.
Yeah, is not a part of this right now. But hey,
I think he's frozen. He looks frozen. Yeah, he's not even moving.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone.
I was going to say, what is he doing in that position down there?
He gone. Just like the Raiders fans we had to deal with at the end of that game. He gone.
Yeah, that was quite this. I mean, there was a lot of stories. I mean, we were in some seats. I don't even know if they're ours or not. There was a whole thing of nachos that I ended up eating, thinking there was some. It was quite the day for sure. Lots of stories I could tell. But while we wait for Mangone to come back, we're going to get into the Members Never Win segment. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. There was a lot of Members Never Win screenshots, though. We had Jen C13 won 6,000 in NFL. Our boy Slick Derulo, 6,500 in NFL. I know you're always in here crushing multiple sports. Congrats to you. S-Char 19, $15,000. And our boy Mangone, $12,000 in NBA. He had the college football hit as well. Mangone's been on fire, but maybe he can upgrade the Wi-Fi or do something with it with that money. Rubio Dimes, $15,000 in NBA as well. Congrats to Rubio. Love doing the Spread podcast with him. He's been saying he's been really close and running bad lately. So he finally got the $15,000 win. Our boy Tambo, he won 2 King of the Beach tickets. That'll be this weekend. I'm subbing in for him on the morning Sunday show. But Tambo, 2 tickets. Congrats to you. Try and take it down. I got a couple members going there too. So should be a fun sweat next weekend. And then JSU, $167,000 in NBA. Took down all the money. JSU stays hot. Congrats to you. $667,000. Big win. Got our boys AP in chat, Paraby, Brian, Nadesify, Anthony. Thanks all for hanging out with us. Hit the like, hit the subscribe for us. I don't know what Mangone's up to. Has he hit you up yet, Hoop, or is he just gone for good?
He gone. Man gone. The name turns out to be true. Man gone. He's out of here. But yeah, nice spread there from the members. Or a lot of coordinators in there too. I mean, just phenomenal performance. JSU obviously with the big hit. He'll be on Up to Lock basically every single day here after us. Part of the premium product at Run Pure Sports. Mangone had the big win, and we need to get Mangone back so we can celebrate with him a little bit. It sounds like he will be back. Computer reset on him, so he'll be back with us. But yeah, I mean, it's back to the grind. We got two big slates tonight. NBA slate's big. If you're playing the Showdown, that's obviously always big. So back to work, back to finding more winners this week, starting the week out right.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, a lot of sports, a lot of wins. If you're not a member, want to be a member, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first month. We have the Showdown playbook. We have the Showdown show BigT did earlier with Chop. We're going to have the attack plan Tambo does, all of our NBA stuff as well. So RPS Heater 25% off. Before we get into the NBA, though, Mangone will be back in a second. What are your initial thoughts? You talked about Washington a little on the Showdown stuff. We already know you're going to be heavy on the kickers for sure, but any first looks at pricing or anything that 4-2 Washington, 5-1 Washington, little Seahawks 4-2. You've been the Showdown GOAT lately. A Big T. Yeah. You kind of passed up Big T a little bit this year. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Big T's not happy about it. He's getting replaced as the Showdown king. Yeah, man, last night I don't know what play I was a little out of it, obviously traveling all day. I don't know what play it was, but something happened at the end of that game that swung very negatively. That swung my results very negatively. I still had a good night last night, but I almost shipped again. I don't know what the play was, though, because nothing really happened at the end of the game. Tonight, though, I think the big decision point on DK is DK Metcalf. I mean, he's clearly super cheap, 8.8K, basically $2,000 cheaper than Tyler Lockett. DK is going to be super popular. Tyler Lockett, probably not. So you really got to make decisions. I mean, if you're going to play Metcalf, you're almost forced to be almost all in on him, really. So that's the biggest decision point for me. I think it's a slate where, yeah, the cheap guys you're not going to feel comfortable with, but you're almost forced to play some cheap guys too, because these guys up top just seem so likely to have big games. Heineke's been playing well. McLaurin's obviously big upside. You got Russ. I mean, can Russ bounce back? I mean, it's been so rough for him. But this is like an all or nothing spot for the Seahawks. Like, they have to come out and play well here. So you got him. Collins is basically the only running back, a little bit of DJ Dallas, but they've really been using Collins a ton. Just a lot of strong plays up top. So you got to sell yourself on some of these cheapies, and it's not very comfortable the further down you go.
Yeah, no, definitely. But we always know someone's going to get there. Like yesterday, a little Harrison Bryant, he was 1,000. Yeah. He got 8 before he got hurt. There's always going to be someone down there. And yeah, I mean, it's a really close spread. Last I checked, it was sitting at 1. A lot of high price guys, Russ, Heineke, Lockett's overpriced a little bit. Scary Terry's overpriced a little bit. Metcalf, like you said, a little cheap. So I think, yeah, ownership's going to be a little concentrated. We'll be in Discord breaking it all down, but I think it's going to be a very fun slate. I think maybe not a solo shipper today, but I don't think there's going to be too many duplicates. I think there's a lot of ways you can go in the lower range.
Yeah.
I don't know where Mangone is. He'll be back eventually, but Hoop, I say we dive right into it.
Let's get in.
Only one game at 7 p.m. Eastern, which I like. It's not a game I even have a lot of interest in. The Orlando Magic, the 76ers. 76ers are 14-point favorites, a 205.5 total. Cole Anthony is out. Mo Bamba is questionable. But we have a lot of news that we're going to get to in future games with Jokic, Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler, stuff like that that'll change the whole slate. So I don't think you need to go overboard on this first game. But talk about what your approach is. Are you going to go a couple people max? Are you going to fade it all together? What are you doing in this Orlando 76ers game?
Yeah, I guess a lot of it depends on what sort of news we get. Like, do we get the Jokic news? Do we get the Jimmy Butler news? If we don't have any of the news, I mean, you might want to just avoid this one. I mean, it's a 14-game spread. 76ers favored by 14 here. Joel Embiid's back. He's expensive, coming off a monster game, 70 fantasy point game. Was that in overtime? 45 minutes. It looks like it was off the main slate.
It had to have been overtime. Yeah, I think that was the early. Yeah, because Drummond had a tip in. That wasn't main slate. Tip in. It was overtime.
Yeah. Okay, so still a big game though for him. He obviously looks great. Tobias Harris, decent price tag, 7.8K, but I mean, you don't really need to play 8K Tobias Harris with Joel Embiid back in there. On the Magic side, is there some decent values? Yeah, I mean, maybe Jalen Suggs is okay, 5.3K. Probably going to play about 30 minutes and get about 25 fantasy points. Is that good enough on the slate? Well, it kind of depends on that news. So for me, I'm going to try to be underweight on this if we don't have the news. Now, if Jokic is in, Jimmy Butler in, then maybe we come here and look to some of these guys. So what I do here really is contingent on the news that we have at the time of the slate locking here.
Yeah. So like if Mo Bamba's out, Wendell Carter, he got a little price bump, but he gets even more usage. His rebounding upside goes up. So I think a Wendell Carter would be good on both sides. But yeah, there's a lot better games to target 14-point spread. Looks like we got you back, man, going. You can talk about this game. We got 76ers. We got Orlando. You can talk about the NFL tonight. You can talk about what was going on. We talked about your win that we wanted to congratulate you on. So, hey, talk to the people.
Yeah, congrats on the shipper, by the way. I was a little out of touch for the weekend and just wanted to say congratulations.
It was nice, Oopty. I got the triple overtime. I wasn't asking for it, but I remember seeing it and I said, while it was going on, I was like, I think this isn't going to do much for me, but it was a nice boost. I definitely enjoyed it. And, maybe I'm getting hot at the right time. We got the college football championship this weekend. So, I think I'm in it. Bruce is in it. I don't know if Falik is in it in Big T. I'm not sure, but they've been grinding all year and doing great in college football. So hopefully they're in it. We can take that down for RPS. Nice little 100K to first for 75 people. And that's a nice sweet spot for the cash guys, right? So hopefully we can take that thing down for the people. Should be fun. We'll be giving out all the content. We'll be in the Discord, grinding it out, helping you guys out with everything for the championship weekend. And then we got the Bulls coming up, so don't miss out on that. But yeah, I'm not excited for this showdown slate like you guys are. I mean, I think I'm just going to play one team. I don't want to sit there and grind it all out. One mistake I've made, I think, over the past couple of weeks is I've signed up for NFL Showdown. I've been like, okay, after NBA, I'll figure it out. And then what happens is it bleeds into NBA and NFL at the same time. And I'm like Big T with 5 minutes to go, just throwing in something. And I'm not there like Big T and Hoop yet. I'm not a Showdown goat or anything. So I want to just take off, I think, on that, focus on the NBA, answer some questions in the Discord. We'll do our best to help you guys out and find the news and bring the winners, because it's going to be a long night, long slate, and it should be a good one.
Yeah, the Mondays and Thursdays are not simple. When you got the NBA that locks and you got to transition right into NFL, and then you got the NFL inactives are a little bit before NBA locks. So you want to see the inactives, but you got to finish out the NBA line. It's a battle. It truly is. But
I got more volume on NBA, so just something has to be kicked to the curb, and the Showdown does. And I know it can be. I try to upload something ahead of time. Like if I know it's going to bleed at 8 o'clock, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put. If I'm sitting on NBA news, I'm like, let me just run something quick that looks halfway decent, just in case things go really bad, because you just never know what's going to happen. Like I was actually out the other day on Tuesday when the Jokic news hit, and I had to manually adjust all my Jokic teams. Like I was pretty firm that Jokic was going to play, and yeah, sometimes you're wrong. So that's how the NBA is. It goes crazy, and that's why there's an edge, and that's what we grind to give you.
Yeah, no, Monday. I mean, I know people in here grinding NHL too on Mondays. They got NHL, they got NFL, NBA. Hey, there's some real grinders out there. Big T, he grinds all the sports setters too, but it's tough. I'm with you. I don't think I'm playing any tournaments tonight either. Got cash games in the Showdown streets, but NBA, we'll go to this, man. Go. What about this first game? There's only one game that locks at 7 p.m. Eastern. Magic, the 76ers, big spread. Philly favored by 14. One of the lowest over-unders at 205.5. We are waiting on Bamba news. We'll talk about it though, because we're waiting on some other injury news later. If we don't get it, what are you going to do in this game?
Yeah. I mean, this game, it's 7 o'clock game. It's a tough spread, but there are really good spots with the Magic where they're going to be good plays. They are going to be hard to ignore. It's a decent size slate where there could be some stuff later on. Obviously, if 9 o'clock game, the 10:30 game, and then 8:30 is, there's a couple games there, which that you'll get that news more than likely, or not the news, but you get the coach talking at 7 o'clock on the dot, where you might get some of that information that you might need for those games, or you might be surprise information. So I think you're going to have enough news where you can make decisions on the Magic if you want to play them. Now, they're not a team just to go out there and prioritize and load up on, but I think you can't ignore them in this spot. Like Wendell Carter Jr. is still only 6.3K. I mean, you just can't ignore him there. Jalen Suggs, he definitely has been a little more disappointing, it feels like, with the way these rotations have been. So that's something I'm a little concerned about. He is going to have to deal with Tyrese Maxey's defense, so that could be a problem. And then Franz Wagner seems like an interesting option there at 4.9. Again, prices are starting to go up on these guys, but they're not priorities. And at any moment, we could have news that just changes everything and makes us want to backload. Like you could be looking at the cash chart, and let's say Wendell Carter is locked in as like a core play. And then all of a sudden it could be 6:45, and 15 minutes before it's better just to backload. It's not that he's a core. It's not that he wasn't a bad play before, but more news came where we need to adjust, and it's better to take the time to figure that out rather than do that. So you might have to tell the wife, right? Hey, dinner's going to be a little bit later tonight, because it might bleed in till like 8 o'clock here. It might be a tough scene.
Yeah, NFL, just what we need on a double slate sort of night.
One thing I love about being 2 hours back, like by the time, so 5 o'clock hits, I can sometimes be done, but not always. And like worst case, it goes to like 7, right? So I don't have to worry about it too much. I can get my dinner. I don't have to be like, do I eat beforehand? Because sometimes if you don't eat beforehand at 7, you're like tied there till 8:39, just trying to figure stuff out or trying to eat on the go. So that is one thing with moving over here. It's the time zone change has definitely been kind in that department.
Just rubbed it in the hoop. The Eastern time is not the ideal thing.
It really isn't. I mean, especially, it's even worse when you have kids. They're getting home here, homework, activities, sports, dinner, bedtime. It's like just it's a disaster. Mrs. Hoop she's good.
She does a lot for sure. You need a wife like that. Mangone, you moved to the right place. So Central time isn't too bad. I like the noon kickoffs, but I agree with you. Sometimes you do have to eat before lock since you're going to be in there for a while.
On the flip side, the 7 a.m. wake up for football is not kind. The Saturday morning one, getting up at like 7 or 8 to make sure the college football stuff's good, that's definitely not kind on the reverse side. But
it goes both ways for sure. But hey, that's what we do. We're not going to complain at all. We're going to get into the next game though. Before we do, 347 watching, 125 likes. Please hit the like and subscribe button for us. We appreciate it. Next game, the Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat. There's a lot of injury news in this one. Tyler Hero's already been ruled out. Jimmy Butler is questionable. PJ Dozier's out. Jokic is questionable. Michael Porter is out for the year too, so we don't have to keep talking about that. But if Jokic is out, Aaron Gordon still gets a very big boost. Will Barton still gets a big boost with a lot of upside. I'd expect JaMychal Green to slide into the starting lineup as well. If Jokic is out, I think this game definitely can't be ignored. As far as the Heat side, Kay Fallick was in Discord earlier. He was talking about guys like Max Struss, Gabe Vincent. If Jimmy Butler's out too, Gabe Vincent, 3.8K, Max Struss, 3.3. They're going to need that depth off the bench without Hero already. Get even more appeal to them if Jimmy Butler is out. So, Mangone, I'm going to go to you. Do you have any interest in Struss, in Gabe Vincent like Kay Fallick? What are you doing with this Jokic and Jimmy news? Break it down.
Yeah, I'm not as excited about those guys that you mentioned. They could be okay options, but it is a pretty big slate. So I don't know if I need to go there, especially let's say if Jokic gets ruled out. Like if Jokic is ruled out and like this game, if it was in Denver, and Jokic happened to be ruled out and it was a 9 o'clock game and people locked into stuff, like these guys would vault to be the best plays on the entire slate. It's just simple. You'd want to be playing Barton, Gordon. You'd want to be looking at JaMychal Green, who's still too cheap. Jeff Green. I almost called him Jeff Gordon going to NASCAR there because I saw Aaron Gordon's name right next to him, but caught myself on that. But all 4 of those guys are great options. Monte Morris is in play. I know Bones has been a little bit banged up, so that's helped Campazzo a bit. And you just can't ignore these options. This is a little bit of I guess it's kind of like a rivalry game now. Not exactly. It's just like, it's a kind of a bad blood game where you had these 2 teams that squared off before. I'm sure Jokic and Jimmy Butler want to play, but I don't know what is going to happen in this game. I thought I knew that Jokic was going to play the other day. I was wrong. I'm just going to if I don't have the news, which I think we'll have enough news in time, we'll get something by 6 or 6:30. At least we'll have an idea of which way it's trending to be able to help ourselves make decisions. And those are the guys that'll benefit on the Nuggets. On the Heat side, you really can't ignore Bam Adebayo. I think he's going to be a guy that when you see Jimmy Butler sit, it's kind of like point Bam season. It seems like always, he definitely just becomes more of the alpha in the offense. Kyle Lowry is certainly in play, but I do look at that price tag on Kyle Lowry and I'm like, okay, how do I think of him compared to some other options if we get news that falls the right way? So it just kind of depends on what news goes which way. But if Jimmy Butler is out, it's going to be really nice for Kyle Lowry. And if Jimmy Butler plays, you're going to get like a 2% owned guy as a spend up. That could be a really good option that people might not be going to. So I would not totally ignore Jimmy Butler if he does play, because if Jimmy plays, this is definitely a game he's going to be grinding out and doing his best. And same with Jokic. I think that Jokic is someone that we know in this situation, he'd be a great raw spend up points play. The only debate on the slate is what are the values on the slate? And when you put in the raw points of Jokic, do you feel confident in those values versus playing some of these mid-tier guys in the 8K and 9K range and even 7K that just take too long to get priced up? So that's definitely kind of what I'm looking at when we get this news and when it all kind of pours in.
Yeah, we should get this news probably a little bit before lock. And that's the thing. Like if this news breaks at 5:56 or something Central Time, of course, a couple of minutes before lock, then I don't think it's the worst idea just to fade that whole first game, adjust to that news, because it's hard to adjust in a couple minutes. And then, I mean, yeah, if Jimmy's out, Tyler Hero's already out, bam, Duncan Robinson at 4-6. Kate Falix in chat saying, whoa, I was just posing questions. They were being discussed, potential slander city. No, we're not slandering you, Kate Falix. But yeah, Gabe Vincent and Struss for very, very cheap. It would be interesting, especially if Jimmy's out. And it's even a question right now, I think, with Hero out. They need ball handlers outside of just Lowry. So, Hoop, I'll go to you. Jokic and Jimmy, if they're both out or if one of them are out, you got to upgrade the team. So talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, not a ton more to add. I mean, I think you guys broke it down quite well. I mean, this game is fully contingent. The Nugget side is fully contingent on what happens with Jokic. If Jokic is in, I don't know. I'm probably not going there tonight at 11-4, coming off this 4 or 5. What has he been out 4 games? I'm probably just not going there. It's not the greatest matchup against the Heat. If he's out, though, you got to take a look at some of these guys. Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, Monty Morris, like you said, Jeff Green. Price has come up a little bit. JaMychal still relatively cheap. So, I mean, you're going to have to look at some of these guys. Aaron Gordon's been playing really well. I mean, I would definitely like him. He's kind of been like the main guy on offense with Jokic out. And I don't know, I kind of have a feeling that Jokic does sit. I mean, this hand thing, it might be a little more serious than they're letting off. I mean, we talked about it last week. He hasn't played since. Haven't really gotten an update. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he does sit. On the Heat side, I think some of these guys are in play now that Hero has been ruled out. I think Lowry's fine at 7K. I think Bam's fine at 8-2. I will say, though, about Bam, center is loaded. Like, center is absolutely loaded tonight. It's by far the best position on this slate. He's only center eligible. So if he was playing a different position, I think he'd be a much better play. But 8-2, I think he's fine at center.
The other issue, Hoop, just to call this out, if you lock yourself into like Jokic and the Bam early on, well, you lose a lot of flexibility throughout your lineups. Like that utility spot could matter a ton for a guard or forward or for another center. And let's say you're like locked into like a forward and then like you can't get a Sabonis if Turner is ruled out. Like there is some like people I think underrate. I think centers are cheap a lot and good plays, but people do underrate that you can sometimes lock yourself in and box yourself out of really good builds later on. And you do have to take the good plays that are in front of you, but it is something to think about and compare with the center position.
Yeah. And then another, I mean, Zach LaVine's questionable. If he were to sit, Vucevic only 8.3K. So center is loaded. But I mean, if Jimmy Butler's out as well, we're playing Bam Adebayo. I mean, it's not like, okay, well, center's loaded, so I can't play Bam. Bam's going to be one of the number one priorities on this slate if Butler's out too. Lowry would become obviously a much better play. Duncan Robinson. And then you're going to take a look at some of these cheap guys too. Should get the news. Like I said, it's 7:30 Eastern game. If we don't have it at 7 p.m. Eastern, probably skip the first game and wait and see. I have a feeling we'll probably have it, though, ahead of time. But what happens here is fully contingent on the injury news.
Yep, for sure. I mean, if both of them are in, I don't really have a lot of interest. If they're both out or one of them's out, then this game becomes a lot more interesting. So make sure you look at the news. We're going to get into the next game, though. Man, going hinted at a little bit. The Indiana Pacers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, 218.5 total. The Timberwolves are favored by 2.5. And Miles Turner is questionable. It's with an illness. If he's out, we haven't seen it yet this year. I'm not sure if Sabonis would slide to the 5 and they'd go a little smaller, or if they would bring in Goga to play at the 5, which they've done in the past as well. I mean, if it's Goga, 3K, Goga starting. We've seen this in the past. He'd make a lot of sense. Then you could get a little more stars and scrubs route. If Sabonis slides to the 5, his price is really good. I think he would make a lot of sense and be one of the core plays for me. Malcolm Brogdon already has a good price on both sides. I think he's a strong play. Karis LeVert has a good price on both sides. The minutes are trending upward as well. So I like him on both sides. I like this Pacers side a lot more than I like the Timberwolves side. You can always play Anthony Edwards. He showed a ceiling. Can always play a Towns. Like his price on FanDuel a little more at 8.8 than 9.7. But I'll go to you, Hoop. Talk about this Miles Turner news and what it'll do for you.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys are already pretty good plays as is. Brogdon's cheap, like you said. Sabonis, I think, has a pretty fair price. It's not the same Sabonis that we saw last year in terms of like the floor and ceiling, but the price doesn't. I mean, last year we were paying like what, $10K for Sabonis probably on average. Right now
I think it's a lot because of Rick Carlisle, I think. I mean, I think so. Man,
I don't think it's just that. I also think it's the Pacers last year. If you remember, there was like always someone out, and like it just like matched up perfectly. And now
they didn't have Duarte and stuff like that.
Yeah, they all started coming back and eating into each other. But we saw these situations last year. And if Turner sits like Hoop, like Sabonis is like a really strong play that we just can't ignore, right?
Yeah. And he's nice on DK because he does have power forward eligibility too. So you're not locking, you don't have to lock a center spot. So all these guys would get a boost, I guess. So Brogdon's already in play regardless. LeVert's already in play, I think, as well, regardless. Minutes are kind of ticking up, like you said. Sabonis, I think, is a fringe play as is, but would become like a must play if Turner's out. And then, like you said, maybe if we get Goga in there. I'm curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. So we need the starting lineup to really see. Timberwolves side, I think just more tournament stuff. Like if we get the news that Turner's out and we're loading up on Pacers, you might want to take a look at some Timberwolves guys as run backs if you're going to be Pacers heavy. Edwards, D'Angelo Russell's had some big games. Cat, I think you can mix in as well. Who's questionable? Is it Vanderbilt that's questionable? Yeah, Vanderbilt.
Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah. Both of them questionable. So I don't know.
Naz Reid.
Yeah, maybe some Naz Reid. I'd be curious again to see what they do with their starting lineup. But most likely just maybe a little boost to some of the other guys in terms of just the minutes. But Brogdon's strong, LeVert's strong, regardless. Sabonis a fringe play, but if Turner's out, we're going to be looking to load up here.
Yep. Yeah, you made a lot of good points. In the starting lineup, Turner news is definitely big because a min price Goga, good fantasy point per minute producer. Otherwise, Sabonis at the 5, his rebounding upside goes way up. He'd definitely be strong. Then, I didn't even mention it earlier with Jaden McDaniels and Vanderbilt questionable. It's both illness, so I don't know. I'm expecting at least one of them to play. I'm just guessing though. But if they're both out, you need a lot of forward minutes would be up in the air to go to people. Naz Reid at 3-1 is the one that would stand out to me. Man, I'll throw it to you. Talk about this Turner news. Do you think it would be Sabonis at the 5? Do you think it would be Goga? Do you have a lean there? And then what would this Minnesota news do for you?
I could see them. I'm trying to think of who they would bring into the lineup because they don't love Duarte in the lineup. Without Turner, maybe that could change some things. I could see Keelan Martin maybe starting. They could easily go Justin Holiday at the 4. I think that's something, or Keelan Martin at the 4. They'd go with that. I think that's what they probably lean to do because I think they like having Duarte off the bench to stagger some usage a bit. So I think
what's going on with Brissett? Why does he get no run anymore? He was such a stud last year when we were able to play him later in the year.
Well, they did say that, like Carlisle said at one point, like I made a mistake not playing him. I need to give him some more time. And then like they just have it. And I think they're a little bit crowded is why. Like TJ McConnell, Duarte, Torrey Craig, Brissett just doesn't fit well with TJ McConnell and Duarte off the bench because he's just a high usage guy. So that's why like a Torrey Craig would fit a little bit better. And especially if you're putting Goga in there and mixing him in, and if you're putting Turner and Sabonis in a stagger situation, like Brissett just does not fit where it's like, you can't have 5 high usage guys on the court together. Like play Derrick Rose and like Carmelo Anthony together. Like that just ain't going to work as well. Like
you need to stop playing dusty ass freaking Justin Holiday. Like he sucks.
But that's the thing with the way their roster's constructed, he's like a 3-and-D guy and you need 3-and-D guys on the court. Like Hoop, listen, I am not going to tout myself as a basketball player, but would you rather me out there who can't shoot that at least will hide in the corner and give you the shots and play some defense and grind? Or would you like some guy that's going to go out there and just chuck up a ton of shots and miss? Like, let's get it into your hands for 15 shots rather than only getting you 8 shots. Like, it just naturally makes sense to have 3-and-D guys on your team. Having 5 high usage guys, unless they're James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, it just doesn't work. So you need to at least kind of mix and match your team in that way. But yeah, I'm with you. I do like Brissett, but he's not obviously not today. I wish he would get some more time.
Not today for sure.
Yeah,
it's just
for fantasy.
Real life question.
Yeah, I wish he'd be back. Yeah. I do have some concerns on the Timberwolves side with just trying to guess the Edwards and D-Russ and Cat game. Like, it's not fun, but they are really way too cheap and they have a ton of ceiling. You could make a really good rule where it's like only play max of one of these guys on a team. And if you do play more than one, maybe if you play like two of them, you have to have Pacers ran back. Like, you have to have a couple, because that means not that you're playing for overtime, but you're playing for a very competitive game. And one thing that I think's gotten a little bit overlooked is a lot of these games blow out. And if you can kind of find the game, like Big T did a lot last year, if you can find the game that just shoots out and like eats and goes absolutely nuts and everyone gets their minutes, well, that's really nice, especially when a lot of games blow out on a night. Everyone just loses a ton of minutes. So I think that's worth mentioning, because this could easily be one of those games. Timberwolves have definitely been playing a lot better defense, but I do think this game, trust Vegas a little bit. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. And I think where a lot of the usage is going to go, especially if Turner's out.
Yep, definitely. Before we get into the next game, we got a lot of people in chat talking about Jimmy Butler's not going to play. He's not going to go to the arena. The Jokic brothers are in attendance. So little Jokic brother narrative. If Jokic does play or if Jimmy plays, that'll definitely be very interesting. But who knows about that? Bamba and Ross are playing. Thank you, Ant, just saw that as well. So Wendell Carter, not as appealing. Cole Anthony is out, so maybe a little Suggs or something. But now I have less interest in that game than if Bamba was in for sure. So not saying lock starts at 7:30 Eastern, but I wouldn't doubt you or wouldn't blame you if that's how you want to take the approach on this 9-game slate. We'll get into the next game, but first, hit the like for us, hit the subscribe for us, please. We appreciate it. Can do a little better than what we're doing right now. 9-game slate. We got Showdown tonight. A lot of big money up top. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, get good mojo rolling in, and you can run Pier at the end. Oklahoma City Thunder, the Houston Rockets, 216.5 total. The Rockets are favored by 2. Jalen Green still is out for the Rockets. Kenrich Williams is out for the OKC. That doesn't do much. This is a game that I like the pricing, though, on both sides. I think there's good pieces in it. We have Jayshawn Tate, 4.8K, Kevin Porter, 6'8", Lou Dort, 5'4", Giddey, 6'5", Baisley, 4'7". I think all those guys are in play. Garrison Matthews drew the start, 4K. He's had good back-to-back games. He can shoot it on the outside. SGA, maybe at 8K in the mid-range. If we're not going to go up and do stars and scrubs and we're talking mid-range, I think 8K SGA has a lot of upside. I'll go to you, Hoop. I think this game's pretty tasty. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's typically two teams that we kind of avoid for DFS purposes because they just play on shitty teams. Well, now we have two shitty teams playing against each other. So now the DFS guys like it. This is one of those games, the NBA League Pass, that nobody is going to be watching unless you either bet on the game or you have fantasy players in it, because from a real basketball standpoint, it sucks. But a lot of guys like here for fantasy. Like, I'm good with SGA. Giddey, I think, is a good play. Lou Dort's kind of been balling out a little bit, playing, 30 to 35 minutes. He's been over 30 fantasy points. It looks like 3 out of 5 games, somewhere in that range. I mean, he's just playing solid basketball, and he's going to be out there a ton. Could easily get a lot of steals and blocks here in the spot against a sloppy Houston Rockets team. On the Rockets side, who's the dude that's out?
Jalen Green.
What's his name? Yeah, no Jalen Green. Obviously a big boost to a lot of guys. I think Kevin Porter Jr. in play, coming off a couple of good games in a row. Christian Wood coming off a couple of good games in a row. Jayshawn Tate is a guy that will get a nice little boost here in terms of minutes. Played 36 last game. Garrison Matthews, like you said, has played well in back-to-back games, over 24 and 28 fantasy points. And there is a lot to like here, which is, kind of surprising because it's two crappy teams. But, I think you can go a lot of different places. Very appealing. I mean, you got a 216 total. Houston's only favored by 2. Should be a competitive game. These guys should all get full complement of minutes. And you look at it, there's probably 6, 7, maybe 8 plays here in this game. Very, very appealing from a DFS perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you look 216.5 total. I mean, in the past, we think it's small, but that's the third highest on the slate with how the NBA is right now. 2-point spread, you expect full run. I think this is a very good game stack. A lot of pieces you can go to. Yeah, you mentioned Christian Wood too. He has a better price on FanDuel at 7.4 than an 8-2 on DraftKings where he's just center eligible. But I think the ownership will also reflect that. I mean, what did he get? 60 piece last game. Of course, that was the one game that I didn't play Christian Wood. I had him, swapped him out late. He's the one guy that I just haven't got right this year, of course. But Mangone, throw it to you. Talk about Wood, talk about SGA, talk about this whole game because there's a lot of pieces hooping, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a good game to target, and it could be one that, it could disappoint. One team could definitely not show up, and, it could obviously go one way where one team dominates, the other one's terrible. But the one thing I like about the Rockets here and what they're doing is they decided, and I saw an article about it the other day, on TweetDeck, it came through my timeline. The Rockets, they want to play small. Like they're going to start playing a little bit smaller. So you're not going to see these terrible lineups that they've been trotting out with the double big men, which is why they were so bad and why things weren't working. Because what's going to happen, like I just said before, you need 3-and-D guys on the court. Garrison Matthews is not amazing, but you need him on the court to help stretch that floor. You'd rather have him than two big men down low in the paint, just pounding it down there. I mean, this isn't the 1990s. This is different kind of basketball that we're playing, and they need Christian Wood to be the guy there, and he needs space to be able to not create, but, go down low and be able to get a shot on like a smaller body or pass out. And then they just keep the ball movement going. It just makes so much sense. So I think you are going to see the Rockets be really good fantasy options right now until guys come back or the coach finds a way to screw it up. Or the prices get too high. I want to invest in the Rockets and Christian Wood against the Thunder. We know the Thunder are a team that you can target right now. He's a really good guy down low in the paint. I think he's going to dominate here in this spot. The Garrison Matthews price is $4K, which 3K, I was fine with it. $4K, it's a little harder to stomach. I'd rather go to a Jayshawn Tate, who I think you could see in a lot of different kind of lineups and positions where I don't think his minutes could get cut. I do think there's ways that Garrison Matthews could randomly lose some minutes, or even an Eric Gordon. But I think Jayshawn Tate is very secure and one of the better values on this slate. And on the opposite side, when you don't have Green in the lineup, Kevin Porter Jr., he is someone that now actually has the ball in his hands and can create and actually do stuff. And he is someone that if he's going to be a good player, he needs to have the ball in his hands. He has to kind of be an alpha, at least from a fantasy production standpoint. So that's a really key thing. I think those are the top three guys. I would say I rank them as, I may even rank Jayshawn Tate number one, just because of the value that he provides on the slate. I'd probably put even Porter 2, and then I'd probably put Wood 3, not because I don't like Wood, but we talked about how deep the center position can be. But I do think he is a really good play, and he did get the price increase to 8.2K, but all three are really great options, and had to talk a lot about that because it's definitely a different situation. I know many will be scared of it and say, last time I played the Thunder a week ago against the Rockets, it didn't work, but it's a different situation now. The Thunder side, it's a little tougher because I like SGA. I think he's good in tournaments, but at 8K, do I want to pay that price tag relative to some other guys in the slate? I don't know, because I know what the downside can be, at least in cash games. Tournaments, I know the upside's insane. He's a really great play. Giddey, kind of similar situation for him where I think he's a good play, but it's the price tag is a little hefty where the floor can be a bit rough, especially if an SGA is the alpha of the game. And then Giddey kind of takes more of that back seat because those are the two guys that really get the looks. And Lou Dort will obviously be in there. I think 5-4, you don't need to go to him. I think there's better options, but this is not a game to ignore, right? As Hoop was saying, when you pull up the league pass, everyone's going to want to put it on. If you go to the bar tonight and you say, put on Rockets Thunder, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. But yeah, you want to watch this game because it's a good one for DFS.
Yeah, I don't think too many bars, depending where you're at, are going to get this game, but it's definitely one that'll be on my TV. It's a game stack spot for me. I think people in chat are liking it too. Prices are good. You have the spend ups kind of in the Wood and SGA. If you wanted to go more the mid-tier build, you got the value as well. So definitely a game I'm going to have a lot of exposure to. We'll get into the next game. The Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Bulls. Hoop mentioned a little earlier, Zach LaVine is questionable, which is very big news on the slate. If Zach LaVine's out, this is when I have interest in playing some of these Bulls. DeMar DeRozan at 8.7, Vooch at 8.3, Lonzo at 7K. The prices are up a little bit because Vooch was out, so they're still kind of priced like that. But that's a primary ball handler that would be out. Even a Caruso at 5.3, I think would make a little bit of sense. As far as the Hornets side, a PJ Washington at 5.1K would be interesting. Gordon Hayward 6.3. I played a good amount of Bridges recently. Game's pretty interesting, kind of close total. I'll go to you, Mangone. Talk about it.
Yeah, this is definitely a game that you don't want to ignore. I think it's good for DFS, and we need news. The news is going to be super important. One thing I want to mention, though, I know Zach LaVine does get some usage, but I definitely don't want Kobe White in there. I think Kobe White messes everything up and is terrible. So I hope that Kobe White does not go into the starting lineup.
I think
it's 3.7K though, so I have to evaluate it a little bit to see.
Don't you think it'd be Caruso? Kobe White off the bench with more usage? Wouldn't you?
I mean, I hope, but that's what I thought they'd maybe put in Green the other day instead of Kobe White, and they threw Kobe White in the lineup. And it's Donovan. It sounded like Donovan said he made a mistake, but I don't trust these coaches. I mean, they do stupid stuff all the time. So it wouldn't shock me if he's in there. I think that's just key to mention, because if it happens, I am going to be a little bit nervous about some of these Bulls guys. And yes, some of them can still get there, but Kobe White is a high usage guy. He's not a 3-and-D guy that stands in the corner. When you put someone else new in the lineup, it takes shots away. Kobe White will chuck. And
it's 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern too. So we should get it if you're avoiding the first game in the news and stuff too. So we should get the lineup, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And at 3.7, like I think the game he started, was it Indy? It was either Indy or Orlando, but Orlando had 24 minutes. He shot 11 shots, but the point I'm getting at is he will chuck. And if he does start, you'd have to consider him in your MME. I wouldn't just completely ignore him, but I would definitely put some downgrades to some of these other options. I know K Fallick has been betting the Lonzo Ball triple-double bet forever. I'll say this, K Fallick, I'm riding with you today. I figured this could be the day. I've been waiting for one spot to jump on with you. I'm going to jump on today. I got 38-1 on the Lonzo Ball triple-double. So
38? Wasn't he getting 90-1?
That's what I thought. This is the book I looked at. I looked at 2 books. That was the best I could find. Maybe Fallick's got a better book or whatever. I'm limited to some other ones. So that's probably why I couldn't go to there's probably better lines you can get, but I said, I bet it one time with Fallick, and I figured the Ball brother narrative against Charlotte, who they're a fast paced team that we want to target. They're not going to have as much rim protection too, obviously. So I think this is a really good spot for Lonzo in tournaments. Definitely like him. I don't know. Is his FanDuel price still cheap title? He's been very cheap this season over there. What's his price?
Let me check. It's not, when I was looking at first look, it wasn't too tasty.
Yeah, he's 6'7", where it's like, 6'7". Okay, but it's not like a cash gameplay. If you fell on it last piece, I actually wouldn't hate it. But, and obviously if LaVine sat, that would be big for him too and help him out. So I think Ball is definitely in play. DeMar DeRozan, not a bad option either. And then Vucevic, he's obviously a good play. He can eat up the Hornets easily. So yeah, it's going to be an easy matchup for him. And on the other side, LaMelo's a bit pricey, I think, for me. On FanDuel, it's fine, but I just don't need to go there. I think there's other studs I can spend on this slate where I don't have to. You can go with Terry Rozier. I mean, man, the dude has just been absolutely on fire. So the ceiling is there for him still at the price. It's more of a tournament play for me. Bridges has definitely been struggling a bit, which has been frustrating. The shot attempts have been okay, but he's shot really efficient. If it doesn't go his way, it could just get worse. So I worry about Bridges a bit at that price. You still can take a shot, but I much prefer PJ Washington at 4.9K or a Kelly Oubre at 5.3. I talked about it last week and we made it the play of the day that one time. And ever since 31.2, 42.8, like he just fits small ball lineup so well. And that's just naturally what they're going to do. Nick Richards is not going to get 30 minutes a night. They're not going to pound these big men. They're going to play small. They're going to try and stretch you and hope that they can make their shots and figure it out. So I do think that there's a lot of options in play in MME, and you can't ignore this game. Definitely a good one for the upside.
And I think this game is going to go a little lower owned than it was just going to, with Jimmy Butler confirmed out. Yeah, Chat was right. It says tailbone, but I think it might be a little scared of the Jokic brothers. That's gonna Duncan Robinson. People were talking PJ Tucker a little bit. He has a good price at 3.5 and the minutes are there. I never go out of my way to roster PJ Tucker. We can circle back to that at the end if we have time. Otherwise, the Up to Lock show, JSU, DC, Big T, maybe. I don't know for sure. I know JSU on there for sure. I think DC's on Mondays, but Up to Lock show will have that covered. If we have time, we'll come back to it as well, but it's not a situation you can ignore, obviously. Hero and Jimmy out. Going to be some pieces, and maybe a Max Struss and a Gabe Vincent, K Fallick, you can go there. Oop, talk about this game, and if you have any initial thoughts on that Jimmy Butler news, talk about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo. I mean, just all really, really good plays. Now we need to see who starts though. I mean, who's most likely to start in Jimmy's place here? I mean, is it Caleb Martin? Caleb Martin's been playing some ball when given the opportunity.
Yeah,
maybe
could be a Caleb.
I take that back. Not Caleb Martin. I just pulled it up. I'm thinking of somebody else. Who is it on the squad?
You're thinking of Cody Martin on his brother on Charlotte?
Yeah, maybe that's it. But yeah, I mean, you're going to want Heat player, and the crazy thing is, you're still going to be favored. So it's not like you're just getting a complete dusty situation. So yeah, I mean, it's big news, but like you said, the boys Up to Lock will we'll be covering it very thoroughly after they have a chance to kind of break it all down and look at the numbers. In terms of this Hornets game, PJ Washington continues to play well, fair price tag, up to 35 minutes last game, which is very, very encouraging for him. On the Bulls side, I agree with the Lonzo Ball stuff. But yeah, it really depends what happens with Zach LaVine, and Vucevic, good play regardless, but we get a huge boost. But center is freaking loaded, like we talked about. Now we have Bam, who we probably have to play. Vooch is 8-3. He'd be a great play if LaVine's out. Caruso, Kobe White. Yeah, I mean, we got to see what happens here with LaVine. But on the Hornets side, PJ Washington, definitely my favorite play there.
Yeah, that game goes from maybe some moderate ownership if Jimmy was in and Jokic was in and stuff like that. So now it's going to be lower owned for sure. So I think a pretty good tournament game. We'll go right into the next game, though. You're talking about good centers, and we got one I'm interested in this game. The Washington Wizards, the San Antonio Spurs, 215 total. Washington is favored by 3. Jakob Poeltl, 5.7 on DK, 5.8 on FanDuel. That's a very good price and a matchup I like to pick centers on. Keldon Johnson, 5.8, I think is a good price tag. DeJounte Murray at 9.6. We keep talking about it, but I mean, he can put up a 60-piece triple-double any single time. So I think he's got to be in the consideration. Derek White. I think the Spurs side is interesting. As far as the Washington side, I'm not seeing too much hoop. I'll go to you. Do you see anything on Washington? And then talk about the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's one of those teams. I mean, we've kind of been on it for a while where when they're at full strength, I mean, we're not going to be really playing them all that much. It's just too many mouths to feed. Dinwiddie, Beal, Kuzma, Harrell. There's just not enough to go around at their current price tag. So, full strength here, I'm not going to be on them. It's not a great spot as is. Poeltl, though, I think is a great play. I really like that call. The thing with Poeltl, now we're looking at basically like a year and a half where this guy has been very productive from a fantasy standpoint. I mean, he did it all last year. He's doing it again this year, and basically what you're getting. He's going to play, probably about 30 minutes, and he's going to be somewhere between 27 to 28 fantasy points, all the way up to 40. We've seen some big games from Poeltl the last couple seasons. So I really like him at 5.7K. Tough because of the center position. Derek White finally starting to play well again. We've seen the minutes come up. We've seen some, a 38 fantasy point game, a 44, and 2 out of the last 3 games there. DeJounte Murray, I mean, not many people playing because of this price tag. We're not used to paying almost 10K for DeJounte Murray, but he just continues to produce like 60 fantasy point games, 59, 54, 59, 60 and a half, 61 in 5 out of his last 6 games. I mean, I haven't been playing much of him. I feel like a moron. I feel
like an idiot too. Remember I said it 3 weeks ago or whatever? I was like, maybe he's this guy. And
and he is. He's proven it. He is.
Yeah,
you got to get on Yahoo. Get on Yahoo. That's where the only exposure I've been getting is his price has been good over there. And I've been lucky because I haven't been on FanDuel or DK once.
Yeah, and Pensock in the Discord, he's been on Murray a ton and talking him up. And he's been good. This is what I've stressed. I like this just 9 and 8K and 7K range so much more than I like these studs because I can get a couple of them or even 3 sometimes with the value. And it's like, you just have such an amazing ceiling with that. And like Murray can get 60. It's not something that's out of his range of outcomes. And it's been more common this year. So Coop, I love what you're saying with Murray. I mean, it's his offense. Yeah. It's clear.
Yeah. I mean, he continues to produce, and it takes time for people to adjust to a guy's new normal price. And I struggle with that too. Like, he's a guy last year that we were paying 6 or 7K for. He's always seemed like he's always between 6.5 and 7.5 and a fringe play. So that's what everyone's used to. Now he's a mid-9 guy. He's maybe a 10K guy. People haven't adjusted to it yet. A good opportunity there, especially on a slate like this. We don't have the big time superstars to pay up for. I think Murray, great tournament play. Like I said, Derek White, I like too. He's finally starting to round into form. But Poeltl, I think, is just a really he's what's the best way to put it? Just a really solid, high floor, high ceiling too. He can get in the 40s, and at his price tag, if he gets in the 40s, you're going to be happy. Just solid play.
Yeah, I like the matchup against Montrez and Gafford too. Murray, I mean, it's weird to say 10K player, but he has been a 10K player this year. Got to say sorry to everybody. You guys had to stare at my mug a little longer than usual. Title was on the solo cam while Hoop was talking, but we got that figured out. sorry you guys had to deal with that. Mangone, throw it over to you. Talk about this game.
Yeah, the Spurs are obviously something that I want to consider because I talked about Murray. I went into details. He's a good option. I don't know if it's like the day, like it's probably not the right slate to like be firing on like a Cates, Bates, Diop, like, you know what I mean? Like there's like crappy 3 games. That's more like
is it ever?
No, I mean the 3-game slates maybe, right? To jam something in, but like it's just, it's not the right spot to play a lot of those guys. Like sometimes people see like, oh, this guy's starting and he's 3K. It's like, wrong slate. Don't do it. Keldon Johnson, actually, I was getting a bunch of him when I was doing some builder, like lineup builder stuff the other day. And I was like,
someone just said that in chat too. Yeah. Keldon Johnson, right? I mentioned him briefly, but yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, so it's funny. I pulled up the, as Hoop has been alluding to something. I was messing around with this, something he's talking about, the secret. And I had 40% Keldon Johnson. And I said, that doesn't feel right, but let's trust it, blah, blah, blah. And then I reran it again because news came in and got more Will Barton, which was great. And then I laid 20% Keldon Johnson. I didn't adjust it manually. I just let it do it itself. I said, even 20%, that's typically something I would be like, okay, I don't want Keldon Johnson, but Keldon had a great game. And it's like, his usage without those other guys there, it definitely helps a little bit. And I think that Podol's another one, cheap option that you can certainly go to. And I think it's a pretty good spot for those guys too. I wouldn't ignore them when you're building your MME. I wouldn't X them out. I think it's Murray, Johnson, Podol. Those are the guys I'm really looking at. Maybe Alani Walker could be mixed in, but not someone I'm really prioritizing too much. And then on the Wizards side, you can never ignore Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma just has so much upside. Obviously, if he gets going and he can fit in so many different lineups, he can fit really well in the small ball lineups and in the big lineups, they'll still play him. So he's a good option, I think, to consider on almost any slate because of the upside he has still at that price of 6'9". I mean, he has 50 fantasy points in the range of his outcome. So, and the Spurs will play fast. I think it's a pretty good spot for a guy like Kuzma in tournaments. And then Brad Beal, again, another guy you can mix and match, but I think there's better studs on this slate for me right now. And don't really got too much else to mention about this game. I think it's a good one to definitely get exposure to in your MME. And cash games, I don't think you need to be firing on too many of these guys. Maybe Murray if you have the salary for him.
Yeah, it's more of a Spurs side for me too. Anybody on Washington is going to be a little contrarian, but yeah, I mean, have we seen Bradley Beal go for 60 at 2% before? For sure. If you want to do that 9-game slate, personally, I probably won't be, but it's a 150 max thing. Before we get into the next game, 500 watching, 220 likes, pretty good. We only got a couple games left. How many we got? 3 games left. 250 seems a little low. How about 275? I think 275 is a good number we can get to. Hit the like for us. Hit the subscribe. We appreciate it. We're going to get into the next game, though. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are favored by 6.5, a 210 total. Willie Cauley-Stein's out, so I expect Dwight Powell to slide into the starting lineup. He's min-price at 3K. Expect a little more run from Maxi Kleber. 4K, they can go small ball and go a Porzingis Kleber lineup. Luka, he's 11.3K, but on a slate with not a lot of spend ups, if Jokic is out especially and we get some more value, I think a raw points taking Luka would make a lot of sense too. As far as the Cavs side, a Markkanen 5'6", Mobley 6'7", I think you can look at, but I definitely like the Dallas side more. Hoop, I'll throw it to you. Talk about this game.
Yeah, it's mostly for me in this game, the cheap Dallas guys. I mean, I don't have too much more interest. I mean, Powell is fine at 3K. I think Maxi's fine. What's the status of Brunson? Is he questionable tonight?
He's probable now.
He is probable now. Okay. I don't know. This game just isn't all that great to me. Cleveland kind of getting back to full strength with their squad here. So, they're in play when they're super shorthanded, but now they're guys are all kind of coming back. To me, it's just not the greatest spot. I don't think I'm going to go all the way up to Luka on this slate. Like I said, it's really only the Dallas cheap guys for me.
Yeah. I mean, now that especially like Jimmy's out and stuff, and we could have other news that creates more value. This isn't a game I'm necessarily going overboard on. Mangone, do you see it the same way? Or is there something you see we don't?
Yeah, what's Luka? Is he point guard only or is he small forward too? Because
he's just point guard.
Back to just point guard.
Yeah, they keep moving it. I was wondering. Because the other day he was point guard. I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he's small forward now. That is frustrating because obviously if he's a small forward, you can have more opportunities to put him in your lineup. So, Lowry's someone we're going to look at strongly now is a good option. So Luka's fine. Like if you're building MME stuff, I'm not taking him out, right? And if you want Luka, like I've heard Big T talk about this, AP's started doing a little bit. Like if you want Luka on your teams and you're not getting him in your lineups, like bump him like maybe like 2 fantasy points. See what it does. If you bump him like 5 and he's still not there, like there's a reason why he's not there. Like if you're bumping him 10 to get him in there, like, I don't know, then you must have a really strong take on it. If you really trust yourself, go for it. But I think that's wrong. I just think it's not the right approach. So that's how I would kind of handle it. Luka is a good option if you have the money, but I think I just prefer some of these other guys in the mid tier, like I talked about, and jamming in these values. And like, I prefer DeJounte Murray over a Luka, as crazy as that sounds today.
Talk about Jared Allen. I mean, we've got multiple people in chat asking about him. The price at 7.5, but if you look at the last 3, 42, 41, 43 minutes, 35, 38, 36. So I glanced over him personally. I expect him to be low owned, but yeah, people are saying a walking 40 piece. Game logs are saying that in the last 3. Take it away, Hoop.
Yeah, it's this big issue with him is the position center. I mean, center's loaded. And
he's power forward on FanDuel. That's worth mentioning.
Yeah, so,
that helps, but we are kind of wanting Bam, right? So you are running out of spots. And if you play 150, sure, you can like him, but he has been really good.
Yep. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, yeah, if you have a strong lean, I mean, for me personally, it's going to be a trouble. If I play a guy, I want to be overweight. And I just know the way that it's shaping up on DraftKings is I can't be overweight on him and all the other centers I want. So that's the problem I have there. But power forward on FanDuel, I think, much more viable.
I am seeing like I don't know if this could be right, but like 2%, 3%.
I'm not shocked. I mean, centers, it's juice, man. I'm not shocked. Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to end up being that low, but yeah, I mean.
Another reason to say, like, when people are like, oh, I think like Jokic is just the best, like, pay up on the slate. It's like, well, sometimes it doesn't matter because let's say there's 2 5K guys at center that are elite values on DK and they get you like 35 and 35 at like 4, 5 and like 5K. Like, you might just need them in your lineups because your raw points don't matter. Like, yes, if you get 90 fantasy points, yes, your raw points are going to matter. If you get that absolute ceiling outcome game, sure. Yes, you are right. You've won. But that does matter a ton. The pricing does matter and the position matters. Like, and you just can't say Jokic is the best stud compared to these other guys because of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Less than 5%. Someone said, yeah, he's going to be less than 5%. So if you're building 150 and you think he's going to put up another 40 piece, hey, I'd get 15% and take that at 3% or whatever. So definitely someone you can get overweight on. We're going to get into the next game though. The likes are trending up. You guys made a little push. Still got to make a little more push though. 2 games left. This one starts at 9 p.m. Eastern. Got the Portland Trailblazers, the Utah Jazz. Royce O'Neal is questionable. If he's out, I'd expect Ingles to start for him. Rudy Gay would get a little bump too. And then on the other side, Norman Powell is out. And man, the day that we need JT of all days, Tony Snell is going to be starting for him, I imagine. JT might have him in your lineup if you see him playing, but I don't think I have too much interest in Tony Snell. I got some interest in some of these prices, though, on this Portland side. Larry Nance, 3.6. Anthony Simons, 4K. Nasir Little, 3.5. Robert Covington all the way down there at 3.8. Even a CJ at 7.6. He's been so dominant and shown upside. So I think there's a lot of good Portland plays. As far as Utah, Donovan Mitchell at 8.1. He always has a ton of upside. I don't mind that. If Royce is out, Jingle starting makes some sense. Rudy Gay, 4K. Go over to you, man, going. I have interest in this game. I think it's a good one. And it also saves you if you stack the game or save spots for it. You have a lot of flexibility if a Zach LaVine's ruled out and you get that news later and stuff like that. So talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. And don't sleep on the other game after, which we'll get to. It's definitely one where your pivots aren't bad. And it's definitely worth looking at. So Damian Lillard definitely in play here. And we've talked about a lot on this slate, actually probably me more so, but these 3-and-D guys like Tony Snell for Norman Powell, Hoop. I mean, you like Norman Powell a bit. Norman Powell shots to Tony Snell. That's not going to happen. They're going to go other places. Am I not wrong, Hoop?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, they're just
Tony Snell shooting that much. There's a problem.
They're just putting him in there to not disrupt their bench, I'm assuming.
Exactly, and it's gonna benefit Dame. It's gonna benefit CJ. It's gonna benefit Nurkic. Now Nurkic does have a tougher spot, but I do think that is going to help him a little bit because they are going to need his size. They might put Covington at the 3 and Larry Nance at the 5 at times because, hey, like that might be their closeout lineup. They may be like, okay, listen, Tony, it's time to actually bring in something and get the job done. We love you. You're the man. But Tony Snell, we're not playing him for our boy JT, but he is in the slate and going to impact it because he's going to help these other guys. So Dame in playing tournaments. CJ, I think I prefer more on DK than FanDuel. I'd say like Dame more, a little more because I think the price is a little better on Dame. Actually, it's moved up. He's at 9.5 now on FanDuel. So that's actually, no, that's DK. Sorry, 9.5
DK.
On DK, 7.6. And then if you pull up FanDuel, we got the 8.6 and 7.4. So that price difference matters. So when I'm building out my lineups, that's something I'll definitely take into account. And then if you look at the Jazz side, Donovan Mitchell definitely in a good spot, but man, he has kind of struggled a bit this year. Last game, sure, he 27 minutes, he had 44 fantasy points, so the fantasy point per minute was good, but he definitely has not been as great over the past 2-3 weeks, which has been shocking. Maybe it's an outlier. Portland is definitely a good get right spot. So you can go to Donovan Mitchell and buy the low price if you'd like at that 8K price tag. I think he's fine. And I don't want to mess with too many other options. I think Rudy Gobert is okay, but not someone I'm jamming in my lineups like on FanDuel at 8.9. Why would I want to play Rudy Gobert at 8.9 when there's all these other centers we talked about? 8.5, do I really want to use the center spot on Rudy Gobert? I think it makes sense on some of these 4-game slates when I just want to sign up for 35 to 45 and move on, but I don't think that's the case here at 8.5K. I could just do that at 7.7 with Jared Allen instead. So I'd rather do that. And I don't want to mess with too many other options here.
Yeah, as far as D Mitch, like you said, it's been a little down recently, but I think it's just poor shooting. 5 for 20, he gets you 39, 6 for 16, 26, 6 for 21, 29. So
it can definitely turn title. It's no doubt going to at some point. So I want to definitely buy low soon.
Yeah, that's what I like, that 8-1 price tag personally. But yeah, I mean, it's Donovan Mitchell. He's as good of a score as it gets. Should be a fun game. If this game stays close, this Portland side, I mean, like we said, Little 3.5, Nance 3.6, Simon's 4K, Rocco 3.8, McCollum's price. Portland's going to have to do something, and these guys are going to smash, and then they're going to want to run it back, in my opinion, is how I'd play it. Who, you have the same amount of interest in this Portland side, and talk about Utah as well?
Yeah, Portland just going to mostly be these cheaper guys. If you're MMEing, I think getting exposure to Simons, Nance, Little, Covington makes a ton of sense. They're all cheap. They've shown a little bit of upside as well. Bigger opportunity with Powell out. No need to go to a guy like Tony Snell, obviously, for the obvious reasons. On the Jazz side, though, I like Mitchell's price tag on DK at 8.1K. I mean, I wouldn't be building around him, but if I finish the lineup and I had 8.1K left for my last spot, I'd feel totally good just slotting him right in there. If O'Neal's out, Ingles a little bump. I think Clarkson would get a little bump too. So, yeah, I mean, typically don't like the Jazz, but now we have some price point plays and a potential injury. So I think there's some interest in those Portland guys, those cheapies I have interest in too.
Yep. Before we get in the next game, so I must have missed out on the Jimmy Butler news. So JaMychal Green is now questionable as well. That's a midday downgrade with an elbow. If Jokic is out and JaMychal Green, who usually slides in the starting lineup for him, is out, and man, Aaron Gordon becomes a lock button. Jeff Green come very strong play. I mean, that Denver situation, we're going to get that news, but I missed that. I glanced over when I saw Jimmy Butler. JaMychal Green downgrade could make this Denver front court very interesting for DFS. Last game of the night, we're going to get into the likes. You guys are getting there. The push is coming. We have one more game to talk about it. Do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe. Going to look after this game. 20 more likes, we can do it. Like and subscribe. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Gets you the Up to Lock show tonight, which is going to be an important one because I expect news to break throughout. Mangone, you said you like this game. I'm about to throw it to you. Pelicans, Clippers 7-point favorites, a 210.5 total. This game's at a standalone time at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, where the game before is 9 p.m. Eastern. So, hey, if this game goes a couple overtimes or you have a lot of exposure, you're going to be climbing up the rankings. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, I probably should have been a little smarter with the way I worded it. If things go bad with your late swaps, you don't have bad pivots, right? There's good options here that you can go to. You have a stud in Paul George, who I think he's one of he's one of the better spend ups on this slate. I mean, you have a team in the Clippers who you've had a lot of struggles with the Clippers this year because the games have been blowouts or, they just don't get there because they get blown out by a team or they blow them out the other way. And I don't see them just blowing the Pelicans out the other way because I think this Pelicans team is, yes, people want to talk some trash about how bad they've been. And yes, they have not been good, but the addition of Herb Jones as crazy as that sound helps, because now he can be a primary defender, which he has been really good at this year. And again, it's one of those 3-and-D guys where you take Nickeil Alexander off the court. That's going to help Valanciunas and Ingram. It's going to help Devontae Graham. I think it just overall helps them out, because when you get stops defensively and they miss the ball and you grab a rebound and people are out in front, that leads to what? Easy buckets rather than half court settings. I mean, it's tough to score in half court. So I do think the addition of Herb Jones actually helps them. I do think the Pelicans are not in a bad spot to keep this thing close. So I think that's going to be good for Paul George. You get a little Eric Bledsoe revenge game, which I'm sure Hoop is going to be on. He's been on Eric Bledsoe a little bit. And man, I mean, the disrespect that Eric Bledsoe kind of got last year, not to say I like him as a player, but if you're Eric Bledsoe and you played for that team and they really didn't use you, and then the year later, it just looks like an absolute failure. Like, yeah, you're going to want to kind of come at this team and have a really good game. So 5.2K, Eric Bledsoe seems like a really good tournament play to go to. And do not sleep on Josh Hart in the minutes that he has seen. Yes, against Utah, 24 minutes, whatever, it's fine. The other games, though, he's had great amount of minutes. You could easily see him get between 32 and 38. And this is a game where putting him at the 4 at times could make some sense. He fits small ball lineups really well, can play the 3, can play the 2, can play the 4. So Josh Hart is another one that I think getting some exposure to makes some sense.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Hart's one of my favorite players in the league. I can always play Josh Hart. Think the price is good. Reggie Jackson, 6'1". Think there's upside there. He showed 50+ upside a couple games ago. I agree with Paul George. 10-2 on DraftKings, 9-2 on FanDuel is just really silly over there. Think he's one of the best spend ups for sure. A guy that the price seems low, but if you look at the game logs and just watch how it goes, Brandon Ingram, 7.5K. But man, he just has not done anything this year. Like, I'm going to take a wait and see approach and wait until he turns the corner and starts showing me upside before I jump on him. The price is appealing. In tournaments, though, I'm going to chase upside elsewhere. Hoop, I'll go to you. Talk about Brandon Ingram, Paul George, and anything else you see in this game.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram's been my boy, but man, it's been a rough ride this season. Like, just doesn't get it done, and it's crazy. This roster, for the most part, is kind of crappy. You think you just kind of take control and
no Zion too. What's he gonna do with Zion?
Yeah,
25.
I mean, yeah, he's gonna be like a 5.5K player. I mean, that's what he's gonna be. It's nuts. He
Crazy.
just hasn't been aggressive, hasn't, put this team on his back like he should be with Zion out. Looks disinterested when he plays. But it's 7.5K, and I don't know. Like, I'm tempted. I would probably still have him in my player pool. I can't imagine he's going to be super highly owned, but this team has just been bad. I mean, Josh Hart, the minutes are there, but just, 3 out of his last 5 games been under 20 fantasy points. Valanciunas, it's just tough because center's just so loaded. Can't really go there tonight, I don't think. So yeah, I guess my favorite would be Ingram, but not overly excited on the Clippers side. Probably just Paul George for me. I mean, Eric Bledsoe on smaller slates, I have interest. Maybe we got a full slate here, and his range of outcomes are wide. Like, he can definitely finish in the single digits in terms of fantasy points. Reggie Jackson, pretty productive for the most part, but again, he has a low floor too. So my favorite would be Paul George at the 10.2K. I mean, he should be able to just do whatever he wants here in this matchup against the Pelicans. So not a ton here for me, really.
Yeah, it's not a game that I like we talked about earlier. A couple other games. That Houston game I think is very appealing. That Portland value is appealing. Now this Denver-Miami game is going to be appealing. So not a game personally I'm going to go overweight on, but hey, if you're playing the late slate, the night slate, I don't know if it's 2 games, 3 games tonight. Yeah, got a little breakdown there. Let's check the likes. 272 likes. 3 away, a little hurtful, but hey, you guys made a good push. I know you'll get above 275 for us, so we're about to get in the plays of the day. Appreciate you guys hitting it. Hope you guys have had a good Monday. You're going to run Pier tonight. I'm excited for the football game. Hoop's excited for the football game. Man, going not as much, but should be a fun night. Make sure to check out
we got Eli and Peyton tonight. Do we know? Like, because that'll get me excited. Watching them makes the games better.
I'm not gonna lie. I have not watched the Eli Peyton thing. I don't even know how to find it when I stream, and I know I'm missing out because
what are you doing? It's just ESPN2. It's simple.
I heard it's the nut. I stream everything.
Yeah, so you stream it. Stream ESPN. Look for it. It's not.
Yeah,
hard.
You got
Eli this week, Simon.
Man, you're going to be upset, but your boy hasn't been there either.
Luke, how do you not watch it though? Like, you would love watching that. I feel like
I know I would, but here's the thing. Like, here's what I do for the primetime games because I cannot handle the pace of the games. It's just so painful. I record the game and then I start it like an hour or an hour and a half after it starts and just fast forward through all the commercials and everything. I get to watch the entire game in like 1 hour. So
but you still get to listen to like what's going on. Like you still get to hear it, unless you're like putting it on 2 times speed, like me. I mean, I don't know. I think you should still, next time they're on, record that one and watch it. And
I just can't handle the pace of these primetime games. All right, kickoff, commercial. Team goes 3 and out, punts, commercial. Guy gets injured, commercial. I literally can't do it. Like, it
you don't have to listen during the commercials. You can rewind. They go to commercial still. It's not like they just like put the commercial on the side. Like you can still.
Okay, but I'm like, I'm such a psychopath where I'm like fast forwarding in between plays because I can't stand how slow the game of football is. So
wow, you're like my grandpa, Hoop. I can't. When I watch stuff with him, I can't stand it. So wow, I did not picture you for being like my grandpa. But yeah, he watches games in 30 minutes. You're probably an hour.
Yes,
I guess.
I seriously can't handle the pace of the NFL games. It drives me absolutely like nuts, like absolutely nuts. So it's like one of my things.
Watch it 2 hours later. You speed it up. You just see, hey, I shipped 100K. The game's not even over while you're watching. So
can't switch it up. Yeah, Showdown's been going so well. I got to stick with the process, right?
Yeah, that's hey. Print the money before you're even done watching the games. Mangone, though, I know. I heard it's very good. I know Big T is obsessed with it, but I haven't watched it either. But hey, that's enough football talk. We're going into the plays of the day. Mangone, you don't have the shades on. I don't really know what to call you right now, but who's the play of the day for us?
Yeah, I can put the shades on for it, but I got them right here. They're always by the desk. So
you've been waiting. Yeah, why weren't they on?
You've been things have heated up for you since you put those shades on. I mean, you gotta keep them rolling.
They have gone well, and the chat likes the shades. I mean, listen, our lady at the site, Allie, says the shades needs to be on. So when the ladies are saying it, you gotta just gotta follow suit. But so I think he could gain ownership, like if news hits a certain way, but I'm going to go with Malcolm Brogdon because, again, I'm kind of going with the theme of these 7.4K guys, 7.5, in that range, the 8Ks. Like, I love that these guys have so much upside at their price. And I definitely think the Timberwolves have been playing a lot better, but I do think this game could be really competitive. And I think Malcolm Brogdon, yes, if Miles Turner's out, that's going to help naturally because you're going to get a little bit more usage his way. And I think that Malcolm Brogdon can have a big game even if Miles Turner is in. So at 7.4K, always try to shoot for that 50 fantasy points if we can and hit that full ceiling. At 7.4, let's go for 50 fantasy points for Mr. Malcolm Brogdon.
I like it for sure. I'll go to myself with the SO play of the day. I was talking him up earlier in the mid-range build as well. That's the build I like right now. Donovan Mitchell at 8.1K. I love the upside for him. I'm going to have a lot of Portland value as well. So I think he's a good run back. If that same game stays close, he's going to be absolutely going off. If the game blows out, I think he's going to be one of the main reasons why. So 8.1K, I think it's a good buy low spot. Hoop, I'm going to go to you, but a lot of people in chat, Hoop with the best take of the night from Adam Meyer, Corey Holt. Hoop, you got to switch your name to the play of the day now, to commercial-free play of the day. We got a lot of Hoop not switching between basketball. A lot of people are talking about it. And on your side, which I don't know, I could never watch a fast forward game, but it's working for you. So Rich Barron's play of the day and talk about it.
I'm telling you, it's a game changer. You'll
so as crazy as this sound, Hoops, I think I'm sort of on your side. My problem is, my only issue, I like to kind of keep up full time, right? I like to 30 minutes from now, open up the DK app and see what's going on. And I can't do that if I don't watch at the same time. Correct. And things will be spoiled. So that's just,
you got to make some sacrifices. You really have to make some sacrifices with this approach, but I don't know. I don't really open up DK till the end anyway. So maybe that's part of the reason why I'm able to do it. But the pace of the game is bad. It's like we're almost worse than baseball, really, because what you're getting into when they start an inning. At least there's going to be some sort of action until the inning's over. In NFL, injury commercial, quick 3 and out. Commercial.
When you got basketball on 3 screens, basketball, and then football, the commercials are good because then you're doing other stuff in the meantime.
That's true.
That's what you got to do. We'll see. Rich Clarence play of the day, no commercial play of the day, whatever play of the day is.
Yeah, we got a lot. Rich Parents brought to you by commercial-free broadcasting over here at Run Pure Sports. Play is going to – I thought you were going to take it from me because it's a guy we both really like, and I was hoping I got to go before you. But you didn't take my guy, thank God. It's going to be Jakob Poeltl. Love him tonight. Center's going to be loaded, so I think his ownership probably comes in a little bit lower than you might think. But in a phenomenal spot here against the Wizards, high floor, high ceiling type guy, gets a lot of run. Really like him tonight, so he'll be the Rich Parents commercial free play of the day.
Jakob Poeltl has definitely treated me well in the past too. Definitely like that play. Can fit all three. It's a good mid-tier build day, I think, too. But a lot of news can change the whole slate that we're waiting on. We got the Jimmy news, waiting on Jokic, waiting on Zach LaVine. Make sure to tune into the Up to Lock show. They'll be breaking it down when the news does hit. JSU, DC, Big T, maybe. Like I said, I don't know exactly. But JSU, the $167,000 man, will be on there. Thank you guys all for hanging out with us. All of our Showdown, all of our NBA content will be on the site. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. You guys absolutely smash the like button. We appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good day. Good luck tonight. For Hoop, Mangone, Simon behind the sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.